So to our next speaker for this morning, my fave. She's an author, activist, poet, African spiritual healer. She published quite a number of books, one of them being The Kanga and the Kangaroo Court, The Rape Trial of Jacob Zuma, as well as Reweaving the Soul of the Nation. Truly just timeless works. Victor Dlamini describes her in saying, in her work, she fosters the understanding that art can bring individuals nearer to healing of mental wounds. And I am hoping that she's going to also be, speaking about how she used her art, her gift, in healing her own mental wounds, and then also, of course, making that step in terms of just sharing her journey and using her art to be a change maker and being a change. So please help me in welcoming Mmatshilo Motsei.
Ke mogolo ke nosi wa ba manyane maya bokgola go tlhama lesika la ba Ramotsei. Ke khakhathiba ya bo seraka lela letsogong la bonkoto. Setlola mafura a phofu mafura a khama mafura a sebata segolo a ntseng la tlola mekokotlo pale ba di dintsa tlola ke pora mokolokolo. Khomolla. I thought I should introduce myself in this way so that I become rooted. Musa, yo. Before I forget, I think I'm going to forget, I'm going to say this. In 2004, I wrote a book, Hearing Visions, Seeing Voices. It's a story about my life as a little girl who grew up in a village and who went around the world to look for herself, only to find that she left herself at home. And when I listened to you, that book was published in 2004, but people still ask for it. So I'm rewriting it. I'm producing a second edition, which is going to be published end of May. And guess what? I wanted to turn the book into a dance. So can I work with you? No. I think I should put it properly. Can you be my teacher? Thank you. I'm honored. You gave me goosebumps. Just listening to you, you gave me goosebumps. Who am I? I've already told you who I am by my praise poem. I've worked for a greater part of my life in the area of violence against women. So I won't go too deep into telling you about my life story because it will take forever. I'm turning 60 end of this month. So if I were to tell you a story about my life, it's going to be long. So instead of telling you an autobiography or reading you an autobiography, I'll read you my memoir. And specifically around what happened to me after I had written a book about Jacob Zuma's rape trial. Firstly, why did I write that book? I wrote that book because I was angry when I was watching what was coming out of the media. I was angry to be in a situation where one man wipes out all the victories that women of this country got after 1994. And I thought, there is no way that we are going to allow one person to erase us. One person to make a mockery of our achievements as women in this country. At the time, because I was so angry, I was complaining at home. Every day I was like just complaining. And then my family says, you are a writer. You are a writer. Why don't you write? And I thought, what a good idea. I wrote that book in 4 months. I did not sleep. I I was absorbed by it. Anyway, as a writer, I believe that books write themselves through us. So sometimes people like say, okay, when is the next one coming? I'm like, I don't know. Ask it. If it wants to be written through me, it will come. So when that book was launched in 2007 in the Constitution Hill, a few days before actually, my brother says, Ish, Caesar, do you think that maybe shouldn't we organize bodyguards for you? And it was 2007. Remember what was happening in this country politically in 2007. And I was mad enough during that time to write that book. When my brother asked, should we organize a bodyguard? My mother says, nope, not necessary. She's going to be fine. Nobody is going to touch her. But anyway, I've always been crazy. I've born as a mad child. The legend has it that when I was born, rightfully I was supposed to be named after my father's aunt. And then my father's mother said, no, Kinna, it's me. And then there was a conflict around, no, we have to choose one person to name her after, because you can't name a child after two old women because she's going to be crazy. And then I was named after two old women, and I've been crazy all my life. And why I love being crazy is because I hate being normal. I hate doing normal things. I hate anybody who expects me to behave in a particular way because I'm a woman. You can never tell me what to do because I'm black, because I'm a woman. I refuse to fit in any box. But the thing about refusing to be normal is that it comes with a price. You pay a heavy price for being you, for listening to what Donovan was talking about, the small voice that speaks to us all the time. So when that book was launched, my mother was there. I needed her to be there to center me. And a guy came to me to say, "We tshepile eng? Where do you get the courage to write this book?" And at that time, the current narrative was I was in Becky's payroll. And that's what gave me the courage to write the book. Before I wrote the book, I've always been active in the women's movement. I was one of those who, my inbox was always full with requests. What happened after the launch of the book? My life fell apart. They couldn't touch me physically because no one can. I decide there's a way that you communicate with people. I decide how the world relates to me. It's my responsibility. When someone responds to me because I'm a woman or responds to me because I'm a black person, it's up to them, but they don't have that permission. So I don't take how they respond to me. So they didn't touch me physically, but they touched me economically. They went for me economically. I've always been a freelancer, nice word, but You know, all of you know what that means. So I've always been working for myself. I've been working for communities because I feel much more stronger and much more powerful. Donovan spoke about love. I am in the business of love. But before then, I couldn't say this. My life fell apart. First, car repossessed because I was without income for a long time. And then house auctioned. And then I left Johannesburg at the time. I went to live in Bushbuck Ridge in a village called Mmatshilo. But before Mmatshilo, I went to live in Mpumalanga because I've always had a strong connection with Mpumalanga. Every time when something is happening in my life, I go there. There's something about the spirits of that place that I connect with. And as someone who is working with a water spirit, also is that whenever I'm going through a hard time, I need to be near water. I need to be near rivers. So I went to Mpumalanga. I cannot count the number of times that I was evicted because I couldn't pay rent. And I was raised by a teacher and a nurse. I do not remember the time when I was little, when I went to bed without food. But now, in my adulthood, I went to bed without food many times. And during that time, I got so depressed. Remember, Musa and Donovan were talking about being the go-to for a particular skill. I was a go-to person for gender transformation, for organizational development, for transformation in institutions and in people. I was the go-to person. So all of that fell flat. One memory that comes was, there was a time when I got so tired of moving. I had such nice furniture. One thing that made me aware that it's time to let go was worrying about a designer table getting scratched. When I caught myself worrying about that, I said, okay, game up, let go. I took all my furniture to a church in White River. And I came out of that space with a suitcase only. I left everything because I was tired of being evicted. I was tired of worrying about furniture being scratched. And that's when I started to be free. As a young woman, I started driving at 23 because I started my career first as a nurse, and I did psychology, and I studied metaphysics. So I started to drive at 23, a little yellow Conquest, which I bought in Brits. My father was there with me. Now, for the first time, I've always been driving ever since I was little. Now I have to use public transport. And the memory that I remember was walking into a taxi rank. I'm black. I'm like everyone else, but I was feeling like everyone is looking at me. I was feeling like I'm standing out, that everybody can see what is going on inside of me. So my kind of view of what happened to me, what killed me most as a parent was when I couldn't take care of the kids because of my truth. The memory, the incident that comes to mind now is talking to someone in the Department of Arts and Culture in Mpumalanga who were excited. Are you sure you live here? Oh, can you do this work for us? Yes. Oh, what do you do? I'm a writer. Oh, have you written any books? Yes. Which books? Kangaroo Court. His face fell. I knew that job is gone. So there has always been a thing in me of needing to hide that I've written that book because I was going through a hard time. Until such time that, I decided if people are going to work with me because of my qualities and because of who I am, there are people who will work with me. The amazing thing is that even at that time, some of the feminists that I had been working with for a long time would say, what did you think? Why did you even write that book? What do you think was going to happen to you? So essentially, this journey of having gone through this breakthrough, you're talking about the theme of today is breakthrough to excellence. And I want you to think about what happens when something breaks. Even the word itself, brr, even the word itself is so violent. What happens when something breaks? But the issue also is that something that breaks, when your bone breaks and it heals, it's not that original bone. You actually have a new leg. It's not the leg that you had once. So I was broken, and I had to go through myself. I had to negotiate with God, who at a certain point I thought, there's no such thing as God. Where I was at the time. The defining moment was at one time, I had just dropped my son at school, and this dark cloud came over me. And I decided, that's it. I'm taking my life. Throughout that period, there was an area that I used to drive through between White River and Sabi. Those of you who know that area, it's mountainous. So I was checking out where am I going to throw myself so that no one finds me. I wrote a will that morning. Just as I was going into the car, a friend of mine calls from Bushbuck Ridge. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. What? No, I'm just asking, are you okay? I said I'm okay. No, you are not okay. And he asked again. When he asked for the third time, that's when I broke down. And that's actually how, then later I went to fetch my son, and he was happy to see me, and I was like thinking, I almost deprive him of being mothered by this wonderful woman. So going back to breakthrough, there's a Japanese art called kintsu. I always forget this name, kintsuga. This is a ceramic art that the Japanese use to repair broken pieces of art. But instead of using ordinary glue or whatever, they use powdered gold or silver or platinum. So if you see me glow, don't be surprised. I'm not so sure whether I'm repaired with gold, I'm not so sure, or platinum. I think let's go platinum. So I have been repaired by powdered platinum. And me being broken down like I have been, and being alone, and being isolated, and coming out. Before I came back here, I lived on a farm for 2 years, alone. Deep in the mountain, you don't see a car, whatever. And I had to learn to live from the earth, eat from the earth. And there was a gorge and waterfalls and caves. I spent a lot of my time there. This is the through part. The through was with nature. I connected with nature very deeply. I'm scared of snakes, but you see me walk around there because I would say to the snakes, okay, I want to go to the waterfall, please give way. And they listened. And what I'm surprised is, for 2 years I lived on my own in the mountain. There was never a lizard that got in the house, or a frog, or I have never encountered a snake. It was just silence. The beauty of being there. During the night is pitch black. You look up the sky, it's like you can just touch the stars. Full moon, the whole valley is lit. When you sit outside on the veranda, you hear the water. Shh. That's where I got my healing. Alone. When I came out, I was different. My approach to violence against women now, I'm even working with men, even working with offenders. My approach to violence against women now is using art and love as healing tools. Just to finalize, the danger about being the last speaker is the luck. Just to finalize, I have a new project called Marumo Fati, which is put the spears down. Marumo Fati uses art and beading. I'm starting this month with a pilot. Women who have been raped as children. We work through our wounds. I found out that I was raped at 6 when I was writing the book. We work through our wounds. We put beads around the spear. And each bead that you put around the spear, you must be aware that you are transferring healing energy. You are transferring love and healing energy to a man that you don't know, a man who has raped. So once we've done that circle of healing for ourselves as women, the next step is I work with men. Men who are ready to say, I'm also wounded by patriarchy. I'm also broken. Yes, I have raped, or I'm a potential rapist. And therefore, I need to heal. When a man comes and picks up that spear, I'm looking for men, for South African men, who are courageous enough to confront their own wounds, because I can no longer work with this issue in the same way that I did. I can only work from a place of love. And when I came out of the wilderness, I was worried. People know me to be this fiery feminist. I was worried, how do I now start talking about love? So I had to learn to love myself deeply, so that when I walk out, I know I'm loved. Finally, to say that what's happening to me as I walk around, I get amazing reactions from people. Waves, this, love. At first I used to be surprised. I'm not surprised anymore. People feel my energy. I choose to be love and light to the world. And those who can feel my vibration will respond back. Thank you.
Choose to make a positive impact. LeadSA.